What's up, everyone? So it's been a little while since I've done a video, and partially that's because I've kind of a little nervous, but I'm just gonna bomb on through. And today I want to talk to you guys about some of the technology and some of the other attributes of these plasmas, particularly cold plasmas, and how these things can be used for advanced technologies like we see in the famed MH370 videos. You know, this is a monopole plasma that they developed using lasers, which creates an energy field around a plane, mapping out its mass, and then opens up a wormhole with negative energy and is able to teleport a freaking plane. But that said, I hope everyone's feeling good and doing amazing. So the first thing that I'm going to be reading are some excerpts from this paper from Project Condon, which is a UK UAP paper that was written up. Unfortunately, since archive.org has been taken down, you aren't able to see the document that I was looking at, and luckily I've taken some screenshots of it, but I think you can still find it. But it's really interesting how this scientist basically goes into the how these plasmas are sited, what kind that they look like, and also some of the technology that can be used for it. So without further ado, so this video is not too long, let us begin. So, exotic solutions may be postulated, but these often lead to the necessity for some form of force beyond human understanding, and contrary to the laws of physics as we understand them. This leads to such ideas as gravity cancellation, teleportation, propulsion without reaction, and force fields. Now, after reading that, I would like to bring your attention to these patents and DIA documents that are discussing this technology. So in reference to, warp drive, you can look at the DIA paper on warp drive, dark energy, and manipulation of extra dimensions. Anti-gravity, you can check the DIA paper out for anti-gravity for aerospace applications. And free energy, or zero-point field radiant energy, you can see the DIA paper for concepts for extracting energy from the quantum vacuum. Teleportation, this falls into the lines of the transversible wormholes, stargates, and negative energy. This is a real DIA paper that was released, I think, in the early 2000s, which discusses all of these technologies that I just spoke about from the Condon report. And it's funny because it says some form of force beyond human understanding and contrary to the laws of physics as we understand them. Yeah, as the public understands them, but they obviously have this technology locked away in black budget projects, and that's how we see, the TRB-3, the big old triangle UFO. That's how we see a bunch of UFO sightings that are obvious military equipment. Now, that's not to say that there aren't other UFOs that are from extraterrestrial beings. We know that there's a galactic federation, as Mohammed Shed said, who was the Israel space defense chief for 20 years. And I think even the Canadian Prime Minister spoke about this. So here we go. Summary relevance to UAP. An examination of a wide range of research into ball and bead lightning has shown that it is certainly connected with a proportion of the UAP reports received from within the UK aerospace. Descriptions of these particular forms of lightning correlate in time, color, and motion with qualitative descriptions often given by reliable UAP witnesses. Because these UAP, which are formed and then reported as a result of lightning, are, of course, transitory in nature, and their form is apparently changing as they head towards demise, it is reasonable that the color descriptions vary, that they exhibit strongly influential electrical field characteristics, exceptional motion, and pyrotechnic displays, all of which are unfamiliar to the majority of the population. So basically saying that, when people encounter these orbs, which many people have encountered these orbs, you can go through my comments on my TikTok videos and you can see a bunch of people with their own personal, interaction with these things. It's quite amazing, honestly. Let's continue. Body radiators. A supportable theory suggests that some balls have a coherent core which is too cool to radiate in the optical visible spectrum. Hence, such a volume would appear totally black. The visible appearance of the phenomena depends on optical thickness, where, if the body of gases particles is hot enough to radiate, then its intensity is uniform over the surface, independent of the angle the surface makes with the sightline of the observer. So basically saying that if these things are hot enough, wherever you're looking at it, you're going to be able to see it in some form. When the radiator is too cold to radiate a significant amount of energy in the optical region, it will completely absorb any optical radiation which falls on it and hence would be seen as a totally black object. Now, we'll continue. He has a note here. This later statement would seem to have a significant read across to frequent UAP sightings where a black shape, often rectangular or triangular, is seen between visible lights at the extremities. Although black and gray body radiators are respectively thick and thin optical sources, whatever that last bit means. But it's very interesting that he's saying that, there are many UAP sightings of just a completely black object. And this is exactly what I've seen. I see them all the time. I call them basically Big Daddy, because whenever these things show up, the bright little orby boys, they don't come out. It's pretty weird. But the best way I can describe it is like a glowing shadow, right? It moves super fast, and sometimes they look like they're, a sideways triangle or like some form of diamond shape, and it just goes straight across. It's very interesting, honestly. And my head almost blew up when I read this bit, because it's verbatim what I've been seeing and experiencing, and many others have. This is totally incredible that this paper was written out like this. All right, let's see. All right, I already described this stuff. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is basically like a, how could I say this? Maybe a PSA that I written up for people on Reddit, because I was so tired of trying to get people to understand what was going on that I wrote this gigantic thing basically saying that, I'll just read it out. All the information for disclosure is already available. We just need to organize, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. The truth is, we already have all the information to take a stand. We know exactly why this technology is being hidden, from the economic paradigm shift it would cause to the inability to control the population due to the profound physics-backed spiritual and consciousness aspects evolved. And I reference Hal Puthoff in his documents for the gateway process, which is basically the connection of physics and consciousness, the things like remote viewing, telepathy, and this is all because of this extra dimension, the ether, which connects every single point in the universe. And this is how you can travel without moving through your mind via remote viewing. And how many people who encounter non-human intelligence have accounts of telepathy, because these beings have the sensory perception to see this other realm, almost like think about it like a dolphin with sonar, right? Or a bat, like they have this extra perception to see this space. We don't, and it's like we don't have the capability to actually be aware of it, right? Like many people can't feel the energy lines of the planet, or don't have the ability offhand to do things like dowsing, looking for water or looking for the ley lines. It's actually really interesting. There's a video out of some chick in the 1950s or something who was looking for water, and she's not using a tool, she's using her body, and she's feeling the the energy lines of the planet to find water. I'll actually share the video right now. Okay, so here we go. Why do you think, and this is referring to Hal Puthoff, why do you think he's at the center of this phenomena from multiple angles? The study of consciousness is crucial, especially when paired with plasma physics, which is key to all of this. It ranges from how our alien reproduction vehicles operate to the fact that many UFOs are conscious, living plasmas. Numerous pilot encounters with Foo Fighters describe the objects as if they were playing with them or putting on a show. And then I reference a couple of archived videos from Eyes on Cinema. I got 4 here. I'll show those. And let's see. By leveraging plasma ball lightning, by leveraging plasma/ball lightning, largely swept under the rug, the military-industrial complex has developed, and this is speaking how, the study of plasma or ball lightning is basically, pushed away. Not many people talk about it. It was a big thing in the past and then it just disappeared. Because from this understanding, you start deriving all of this very advanced technology, i.e. teleportation, even Salvatore Pais's patents for the Navy, where you're seeing a literal mass reduction capability, inertial mass reduction capability, I think like force field and generating energy from the ether, patents that he has, and he works for the DOA, or Department of Defense, DoD, and he is the inventor of the orbs that teleported the EMH370 videos, which is just crazy. And like I said, this is all going to start coming down the pipeline here in the future. Luckily, Ashton was just on Candace Owens, huge podcast, and laid it all out there. It's crazy, that we have all of this information at our disposal, and yet it's taking so much to get the population to understand that this is real, okay? And this is another one of the reasons why I'm making these videos, because, it's not that I'm, trying to get famous or anything. If I can touch at least, a couple people, wake them up, that's all that really matters, really, tend to the garden that you can touch, so to speak. And then, so yes, we have, these DIA papers: traversable wormholes, stargates, and negative energy, warp drive, anti-gravity, free energy. And then, so now tie this together with the questionable practices of the American military and government, and it's hard to avoid the same conclusion unless you're in denial. And here we go. The study of ball lightning and other plasma forms is the key, which is something that I believe, and many other people believe. The plasma physics is literally the key to all of this information. I would suggest checking out Dan Winters and, of course, Ashton Forbes. Oh, and Dave Rossi, and of course Salvatore Pais. And there are probably many other people who talk about this, but this is the key thing that will unlock this basically Stargate future for us, right? So here we go. Plasmas, or ball lightning, have the capacity to be conscious, representing the interdimensional aspect of the phenomena. The zero-point field, ether, or subspace, whatever you choose to call it, connects every point in the universe. This field explains why humans can experience extrasensory perception, ESP, such as remote viewing, telepathy, clairvoyance, and premonitions. Our consciousness exists in this etheric realm, meaning it is non-localized. And here I reference the CIA Gateway Process papers, which literally lays out how you need to do this, how you can do this to be able to access this ability. And also I suggest people checking out the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats. It's really good and hilarious. Alright. We are plasma entities having a human experience. Many UFOs are plasmas without a corporeal body, entering our dimension as a highly electrically charged space dust. It's clear that many UFOs originate as plasma, and some are conscious beings from the ether. These entities have been linked to ancient encounters with angels, jinn, biblically accurate angels, and other etheric beings, fairies, your forest spirits, etc. That said, I do acknowledge that there are also nuts and bolts craft and even a galactic federation, again as stated by the Israel Space Defense Chief and other high-level individuals. We have had physical alien bodies from Peru, over 60 bodies, with 4 different species identified so far. This includes the tall grays, small grays, mantis-like, and one that resembles the Aleister Crowley being who he claimed he was in communication with. And you can find this site and all the information about the bodies and how they're being analyzed at thealienproject.com, which I think is just crazy. Like, we literally have non-human intelligence bodies. We have the gray aliens, we have the tall ones, we have the mantis ones, and we have these other looking ones, right? Bodies. Like, this is the most mind-blowing thing, aside from the MH370 teleportation video. Having actual alien bodies that are being studied is just amazing. And what a time to be alive, right? It's incredible. All right, here we go. Finally, we now know the truth about Roswell, proving the government will lie endlessly. This should motivate you to look into the technology behind the MH370 teleportation videos, which involves monopole plasmas capable of ripping holes in space-time. All the information has been presented, as I have just done. And then I go into regarding the plasma, check out the Project Condon report, and I wish you guys can check it out. I'm gonna try and find it, do like a deep search and see if I can come up with it, because I'm telling you guys, it's one of the most amazing documents that I've ever seen, really, and it's not talked about at all, right? And dude just lays it all out. Every single thing on the videos that I'm showing on my Instagram of these plasmas captured by people like Mr. Anomalous and the dude from Plasmoid Anomaly Study Group, all of these things have these attributes. It's a string of sausages or elongated beads, typically globes, sometime with eternal flame, occasionally 2 balls linked together, torus shape, rods, or hollow spheres. Like, every single thing, constant rotation, the colors, blue, red, violet, yellow, and various other colors, sometimes surrounded by bluish envelopes, emitting sparks or firework-like trails, and exhibiting glowing tentacles. Exhibiting glowing tentacles, I think, is like, should just be like, okay, jellyfish UAP, we have all of these other UAPs that we're seeing, from the videos that I'm sharing. Real plasmas that, like, anybody can call to you if you want, if you just go outside and try it yourself. Like, I literally do it every single night. Sit out there, I look up, I'm like, you guys up there, telepathically, and they'll come, they'll just flash for you, they'll fly directly over top of you, pulsate a couple times, then turn around and fly away. It's honestly mind-blowing and kind of crazy that I'm even talking about it out loud, because I know there's probably going to be a stigma behind it, but it's true. The way that I think about it is, it's just like, smart birds up there, or, fish that are like flying in the ether in the sky, conscious ball lightning, right? It's amazing. And I think the main problem for why this is so hard for people to grasp is because it kind of sheds light on the capabilities of consciousness, right? Like, in like the biblical sense, only humans are conscious and animals don't have consciousness. In our world being heavily doctrined by, religious hoo-has who, worship the good book and the good news, that's a very hard pill to swallow. And when it's happening directly in front of you, what are they going to do? Demons or angels, right? But in reality, it's just a, conscious entity, just as the conscious entities in physical bodies that were found in Peru. It's just another facet of reality that I'm hoping people can slowly grasp, so that we can grow as a nation and stop all this bull crap. It's insane. And the worst part is the government literally thinks that we're retarded, like we're stupid. Like, they could, for instance, the Roswell crash, right? from the start, people were coming out, high-level officials, even a book who was written by Corso, who was like one of the head people next to the president. Like, this is a high-level dude, writes a book called The Day After Roswell, where he describes the alien body. He describes the craft. And people are like, oh, it's fake, it's fake. But we have, you know, the literal people who encountered the craft, walked up on it, 2 groups of people, you know. And still the government says, oh, it's fake. And it's so insane. And they even put out a story like, oh, it was a weather balloon that fell. Well, the weather balloon thing doesn't make sense. You need a whole team of military people, you know, tanks, helicopters to come, you know, comb the entire desert, finding every single piece of this balloon, and, you know, like all this secrecy and whatnot. You got a paper that comes out saying saucer found in Roswell, you know, then all of a sudden the military retracts it. It's insane. And even the paper that Jesse Marcel was holding when he was taking a picture with the material that they switched out with the actual weather balloon, in the paper that he's holding, you can see a document where, luckily, researchers blew this up and enhanced the image, and is talking about, you know, crashed craft and bodies. Like, it's pretty crazy. And just because the government says nope, can't be true, you know, people believe it. They close their eyes, they go back to work, they continue paying their bills, they continue watching TV. You know, they're literally brainwashed. It's crazy. And my favorite bit about it is, you know, people are like, well, what about the bodies? Why, you know, there are bodies that people found. The government's like, oh, they were 6 foot tall wooden mannequins that we dropped out of the plane, I think called Project Mogul, and it was, you know, something. But the bodies that were talked about being found were like children's size, like tiny babies. And this is validated by the mortician expert guy who worked at the mortician place, who got the call from the military saying, how can we transfer a small 4-foot body and make sure that it's preserved? Like, what? And only now that Lou Elizondo came out and was given permission to tell the public about the truth, what does he say? He says, yes, there was a crashed extraterrestrial craft, and yes, there were biologics taken from it. Boom, case in point. Roswell was a real event, right? And yet people just don't even care. And I know many people will care, and that's another reason why I'm making this, because I just want to share my perspective and hopefully give other people encouragement to come out and share theirs. So this is actually a pretty long video, but that is going to be all, my friends. Much love. Peace out.